Casual Friday. That means it's medium Nancy Matz Friday. And today we're going to be talking about how our conscious memory is not located in our brains. Great topic. See you in a minute. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Happy Friday, everybody. How's everybody doing? I think I heard you say okay. Come on, we're sliding into a nice weekend. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner. Why does my hat look funky today, huh? Looks funky. I'm also the owner of the California Hot Paranormal Investigation Team. Excuse me, based out of Sacramento, California. We are sunny, but it's cold. Uh, okay. The dog was moving around. Sorry about that. Based out of Sacramento, California, which means if you have a paranormal need in the state of California, or you think you do, we can help you. It might take us a while to get to you. However, we can get to you, okay? We have people up and down the state, as I said. California is a big state. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Another Friday. We're going to be talking with Nancy Matz. Our favorite guest is going to be on today. Yesterday, we spoke with Elvis. My good friend Barry Strom was on. It was a fun show. We've had fun shows all week. Just a quick FYI, I've got nothing planned right now for next week. I have one show set up, and there's probably another one coming in. Just been busy with other things, with the TikTok ban. Took a lot of time to figure out what we were going to do, if TikTok goes and stuff, so I've been focusing with that. So, like I said, hopefully this is the weekend that I can get things going and get us on the air consistently, okay? Get back being here consistently. And in the meantime, here we are tonight. I will be back on Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific to read from the spooky holiday stories. Those holiday stories, I'm just about done. Last time I looked was 110 pages. So we're getting really close. We're getting closer with that, to finishing that off. And then we'll be to a normal backdrop as well. Might as well keep that holiday thing going, right? Just to let you know, I do have a supervisor in here with me. She's on the floor laying down, so sometimes she gets up, sometimes she doesn't. So just to let you know that you might see my supervisor, okay? She's my lead producer, okay? Anyway, so let's get going with the show, and then you guys can join me at 7 p.m. Pacific. We're going to do something kind of cool. Tonight I'm going to be over there reading tarot cards tonight. And then tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific, I'm actually going to do some spirit box sessions in that room. So we see what we can pick up and who we can pick up. I was going to do it tonight, but I got to have a chat with my audience over there about TikTok and what's going on with that. So I'm going to put that other part off till tomorrow. And I'm going to be using 2 or 3 different types of spirit communication. And just testing it out here because this house is active, and who knows what voice we're going to pick up or who we're going to talk to. All right. Anyway, let me get Nancy over here, and we can get the show on the road and see what's going on with Nancy. Okay. 1 second. Here we go. Let me push my buttons. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. So hang on, everybody. She's having some technical
Okay,
issues tonight. There we go.
I turned the
Technical
earbud,
issues.
and so when I get on this show, I have to manually just let the computer know
Yeah.
how I'm listening to you. It's kind of a anyway. Today, I saw an article, chart of a couple people who are interested in buying TikTok.
Yeah.
But as I read the article, and you already know this, but we did talk about it. The insecurity people are feeling with TikTok. Like even if someone buys it, who's to say that tables won't be turned? And there'll
Mm-hmm.
be another close of it. So I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
kind of a soft feeling with it, not real good feeling. So I think that the progress of shifting where you want to work, duality, two for a
Mm-hmm.
while. and see what happens. So I'm going to give a caution on that.
Well,
Go ahead.
when I've come to that conclusion, we talked about this morning, and this is what I want to talk
Mhm.
to my followers about.
Mhm.
To give you an idea, I did that morning show over there. I did the morning show having breakfast, with the ghost hunter. I was on Clapper, I was on TikTok, and I got 200 people that passed through on TikTok. I had
Okay.
856 people pass through on Clapper. So they're starting to take notice on Clapper. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is that all those magazines and newspaper articles came out describing how TikTok would slowly die.
Oh, yeah. You talked
And
about
what
that
I'm
this
seeing
morning.
right now is that the fact that it is set up to die right now. TikTok is slowly dying. That this is what TikTok people are witnessing. Hi Vera. What people are witnessing is TikTok slowly dying right now. And I think this is a fallback that if they don't make a deal, TikTok's just gonna float off into cyberland because
Yeah.
the main I'll probably get in trouble for talking about this on YouTube because YouTube is YouTube. But the main people, Apple and Google, they're still afraid to put the TikTok app back into their system so that people can download and update. So that's what's going on. So nobody's going to be able to update it at all. That's why people are having trouble getting coins,
Mm.
to gift the influencers and all this stuff. So this is what the newspapers were talking about. This is a slow death of TikTok right in front of us. And I think 75 days instead of 90. People are asking me why, and I think that's something TikTok came up with, saying, okay, if it's going to die completely, right? If it's going to die completely, it'll die within 75 or 76 days or whatever. And I think
That's
that's
an
what the writing
algorithm of
was.
theirs that they
Yeah,
figured out how long it takes for people to change.
yeah.
And so with that, and I don't want to take too long today because I, of course, have too much to talk about.
Yes, go for it.
It looks like I'll be able to start pretty soon using Favored. And Shar and I have talked about she prefers that. And that's one reason I didn't really get it started sooner. I do like YouTube and Facebook, but I don't know Restream. I don't know how many platforms it will work. So
Hmm.
with that, just have to start somewhere. And
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, things will calm down now, and all of us are sitting out here holding our breath because, a friend of mine said, "God, when are you going to start that?" As soon as I can. I just felt unsettled. You don't want to
hmm,
start a program and then all of a sudden a month later, I've already had too many computer problems. So I've told you I'll try to download Clapper. I couldn't figure out how to do it. And I had to download something called Blue something or other, and it was a gaming site. And I go, wait a minute, why am I doing this? And it was a
yeah,
huge amount of memory. I thought,
yeah.
no, at some point I just can't do that. I'm not going to use my phone. I always use a computer for everything.
Well, I was really
So,
happy this morning with Clapper because, I've been going there
mhm.
previously, doing test runs at Clapper, and we haven't gotten a lot of people over at Clapper. I mean, even if they don't come in the chat room, I'm fine. It's a matter of the people passing through because then they see us, right? And it was like I was lucky if I hit 50 or 60 on Clapper, if that. And
Right.
having 800 go through this morning, that was huge.
Yeah.
So
For
it gives me
Clapper.
more, yeah, for Clapper. So it gives me more incentive to do stuff and try and establish. But I've been talking to everybody. I'm going to keep talking to everybody. Like tonight, like I said, I'm not going to do what I planned to do with the ghost machines tonight because I want to talk to everybody and have
Yeah.
a one-on-one with everybody in my chat over on TikTok and say, look, this is what's going on. We need to be established elsewhere, or we're going to be in big trouble when and if the time comes. Because they already proved they can pull the plug anytime they want. So,
You know what? Where did I get the idea you wanted favored instead of Clapper?
I like favorited. That's the thing. I'm working
Yeah.
on both. So I'm going to be like
Okay.
every other day on Clapper and every other day on favorited, in addition to TikTok,
So pretty soon,
to build
everybody,
numbers.
hold on.
Here we go.
I will be involved with YouTube because I'll be doing my shows over there. Plus, favored will be doing talking to ghosties
Yeah.
and doing that kind of a thing. So sign up on my site, Nancy Metz Psychic, to let me know who you're interested, and I'll be getting notes out to everybody through YouTube and my Facebook if you want to sign up. Not my business page, but the friendship page.
Hmm.
I can still have another couple sign up, 1,000 sign up. I got 36 or something. I don't know what I have now, but okay. So any other announcement, young lady?
That's it. Go for it. The show is yours.
Well, it's information, and this is not directly just for. intuitives wanting to work, but for general understanding on how this works and how I already mentioned on the first show, this is our third one. Um, and unfortunately, I think the first one, I wasn't sure if we presented this all month long, was all taken up talking about the problems with the different websites. So this one, this page, this is one of those difficult topics because there's so much involved and you have to weave a story on how it's done. So this may be a brain teaser for some people, and they go, "Oh, it's way above
Mhm.
my head." I have an engineering background. I'm very scientifically minded, tech minded. Oh, hello. Except for today's technology with Clapper and some of these other programs. w- Come on, make it easier for people. As
Yeah.
my tech guy says, they're not aiming to make you happy. It's big business, and all they want is the hundreds of thousands of dollars big business gives you.
Right.
You little
Right.
guys, you just suffer. And I go, oh, thank you very much. But anyway, so this is we I believe in the quantum physics theory that our brain, I'm just backing up just a little bit, is a mechanism to access a location, a person, place, or thing. And
Mhm.
our brain, I told you about a young man, and I meant to look him up. I've had a really busy week of a young man. He passed away a couple of years back, born a savant. He had autism and all kinds of things going on with
Mhm.
him. And the movie Rain Man was based on him. So if you look at Rain Man, you can see the story. It's a true, not based on truth, but of an individual. And this individual had fantastic memory. And in his very
Mhm.
short life, of course, he had to learn to read and all that. He read 12,000 books. What was interesting with this fella, I say interesting too often, apologize, he memorized every page, every word.
Mhm.
Think of that. I've never read 12,000 books. I'm double, I'm a lot older. But what he does is he memorized every page. And the article I just read about him, he would read a book in an hour because he had photogenic memory.
Mhm.
That's more than I can even comprehend. Though I have family members that are exceptionally smart. I mean, just, oh my gosh, including ex-husband, a grandchild, um, people in my life, my sister. And these people can memorize and see things, but not to the magnitudes this fella that passed away at 59.
Mhm.
And though I spoke of this with admiration, I can appreciate those people who can never forget anything. Every day of their life is remembered. Then when you go, and I've seen brains at autopsy, and it's just a gelatin mass, and it has electricity flowing through it. So you want to keep on, I'm not a doctor, keep on your magnesium and the potassium, make sure that you're on, because our brain is just full of electricity. So share with me, anybody gets smart enough to tell me where is 12,000 books, every page that is memorized, stored.
Right.
What I believe happens is that our brain is full of markers. And those things that happen to your life, I have a good memory. And people say, oh, and I said, well, I just wasn't given the opportunity to explore it because at, at 15, I fell in love in high school, as kids sometimes do. And we just were like, we just never had a moment that we weren't talking around each other. I was completely distracted. So, and I hope people understand. And I put him through school, and by the time it was my turn, I squiggled out a couple of years
Mhm.
here and there, and a couple more later on, but never got the degree because good Catholic family, we had children, right away. So
Right.
within a year and 9 months. And but at the same time, I've learned from doing these readings that I am able to say, I'd like to access something. And you will find if you have time that we carry an energy field around us.
Mhm.
What I believe is that energy field, particularly around the head, is full of memories and thoughts. Uh, I had to have a medical procedure, and I went to the eye doctor, a doctor first, and got my purse. I had to come home and go back. And I got to the hospital for this event, little tiny thing event. And the girl checked me, and I was pulling out my identification card, and she says to me, "Well, it's not like you left your purse at home. You don't need it here because you're already in the system." And I
Mhm.
thought to myself, those are the words I used with my husband just an hour or so earlier, within an hour. So that was a wonderful example. This girl's very intuitive. She's not aware of it. She looks like she's
Mhm.
30 years old. Yet the information I was keeping was around me. And she was sitting on the desk and she was looking at me. And so, of course, my information, not in my mind, but in my memory, was floating around me and she'd picked it up. And so sometimes even Shar and I and other people will have conversation and I did something and my friend Karen said, "Oh my God, that's a word I just did as a card reading." And that's a word that came up in my cards. And I go, "Wow, let's look at that." And so I don't know that she picked it up from me or did I pick it
Hmm.
from her in a future event. A lot of times, believe it or not, I if you come close to me, my family, I call all the people I've read, but some of them are in my family more. I
Hmm.
will pick up words or information just because I think of you, and then you'll call. I have like 4 or 5 people around me, and all I have to do is think of them, and then 5 minutes later they call. It's kind of scary. Like, leave me alone, leave me. It's, at the same time, you realize that energetically we're continually connected. But when it comes to the brain, if I said, think of you in kindergarten. So when I didn't go to kindergarten, my mom held me back to entertain my younger sister of a year younger. So when I started first grade, I remember so clearly a line going around the yard. And I don't remember anything there other than things painted on the pavement. I was a first grader, and I was a very sickly child from tonsils, just was a lot of things. But we were all lined up to get the polio shot, and
Hmm.
that was 1955. And so the polio thing was a big deal. I look back and realize the trauma my mother must have gone through every summer, worried about us coming down with polio. But we were lined up, and it was almost like yesterday to me. When I think of it, Sean, what's going on? Is that your dog in there making noise?
Yeah, she's in there. She wants to be in here. If I have her out there, she'll bark.
Okay, so I remember so clearly standing in line. Where is that in my brain when I can look at the person ahead of me and I can swing my eyes around and look at the yard? I can now look in front of me. Now remember, 1955, that wasn't yesterday. I can look ahead and see the ladies in white giving the shots.
Hmm.
I can now look to my right and see the chain link fence. How is that a snapshot in time? What I believe happened is we're saying, I want to go back to that day of the polio shots. Our brain will go back to a place where that memory can be accessed in time. A quantum leap is then given, quantum event happens, we'll word it that way, in my personal timeline. If I
Hmm.
said, because it sounds better this way, the future is in front of us, it's unlived. It looks like a tight braid rope to me, wound out, wound up. Behind me looks like a whisk broom. All the threads of interest and things and people in my life spread out. So the line of the day I got polio is of my childhood. That thread, that moment is accessed by the quantum action of a quark going, half of me is here, half of it is in that time. It is a connection. Now, clearly, I've said this to people. I've been at this 33 years. And by the way, Shar, you have it, update the information. 33 years, 1990. And I look at this as my access points. And it amazes me that I have such clarity. I have memory of being 18 months old. And when I spoke to my mother about it, she says, "How do you remember that? Because that's exactly what happened." I go, you know, if I guess I could remember, I would, tell you how I remember. Or is it that I know where to access a particular moment in my toddlerhood that was a lot of fun that got me in trouble? Got
Hmm.
it? So that was a little blip in time.
Hmm.
So clearly, our mind accesses a trigger point of folding time in a quantum environment of some sort. My next life, I see myself as a math teacher, and I am so intrigued with physics and calculus and all that. I want to teach it. I want to be able to look at what they call the math proves it statement,
Hmm.
because this is just absolutely fantastically interesting to me. Is how do we get to a past place? And where is our mind? if it's not always in our brain. I think the mechanism that makes our brain work is there, and that's it. When you look at the
Mhm.
different segments, if you've seen a brain on TV and they show you the frontal lobe does only personality, this have the little area they call memory,
Mhm.
really? And they say we lose 10% of our mind, so that must be where all our memories are. I'd like them to let me know how it is that I can access your memory, not mine. So clients come with me all the time and asking me, would you do me a favor? I want to sort out, just broke up with somebody 6 months ago. Would you please get in his head and ask him what the fudge was that about? Sure, why not? Why don't you give me a date, a time, where you were, and I'll just go visit him. Yes. And I have to add now, this is all entertainment. Nothing's locked in stone if you don't want to believe it. And so I will go back to that moment and have a conversation with that man. The last 4 days I've had, uh, anyway, clients, four that I know that were called standing on the cliff, of information that was driving the point of madness. And I can go back in their time and access the people, place, or thing that was giving that trauma to them and explain to them what it was about. Now, if it's a memory that I've kept in my body, in my mind, and that quantum little thing allows me to float, because they've now proven you got two atoms, you separate them, and you put them on separate parts of the room, and one goes, whoop, whoop, let's do the jiggle jackle. This one over here goes, oh, they're going to do the jiggle jackle, jiggle. So they're mimic each other and they're a mile apart. Let me think that one through. So clearly, the idea, as in the first movie Dune, when that creature
Mhm.
ingested the spice of the offspring of the worm on the planet Dune, they were able to fold time. Hello, absolutely. I want to give you some examples. And remember, I don't can't tell you only when I think it's okay to tell a story that they won't mind my telling, I'll give you more details. So the four I was going to talk to about, I said, well, oh, hold it back, hold it back. So I hope I gave you that much information on how I
Mhm.
feel our brain works. It's going to get a little deeper here. So those of you who are wanting to be readers, kind of follow along. Listen to this a few times. She does get credit. I do not. And print it out, get us. And so I hope I can help you. Um, does it do more for me? I'm very grateful that I'm able to do this to this point. Hopefully I can be articulate enough because I understand it. Doesn't mean I know how to word how it works. So I'm going to try. I'm going to back up to where we were. Um, so when I do a reading, many clients will say, I feel so much better after talking to you. Maybe I've grounded you. I've said, maybe I've helped you put your feet on the ground and stand your ground and understand the circumstances that come. But almost without hesitation, everybody says, I'm so glad I talked to you. I feel so much better. And when we do readings, I take whatever I'm about, my energy, my consciousness, and go to somebody else and talk to their spirit, their soul. Because the conscious person that's talking to me on the phone, they're in that oh moment, right? And
Mhm.
so they can't even talk to me about it. And one little lady, darling girl, I've known their family, and I just love this family. Ah, I just love them. And she's young and she's had this drama. I've had to be rough. And I said, please be quiet. Let me talk. Okay, calm down. And I went and explained it to her what's happening. So when we're writing in the moment of despair and frustration and anxiety, someone like me, a cooler personality, is softer. Yes, I have moments, but when I'm doing a session, I try to be distracted, dissociated from your trauma drama so that I can find the answers for you. And it's because I leave me to join you. You're going to feel pain even if I answer your question because you've been energized by some of my electricity. Okay, so when you're worn down, I've been talking most afternoons, so it's kind of like, oh my goodness, hope I can talk tonight. When um, you're doing exercising, and then you
Mhm.
get run down, you're tired. That's because you use too much of it at once. So you'll have some cheese or you'll have some protein. and you build it up because your body then builds up more electricity. Same with me. I have to be an athlete. All my life, I've been an athlete. So, except when I moved and worn out, and then I got sick a few times. You have to build up, you have to build up, and then you continue. So, at my age, people say, God, you get a lot done. You're really energetic. Well, I'm better. I moved and got broken, but I have a lot of energy because I have a lot of muscle. So, muscle creates electricity, feeds your brain. You got magnesium, potassium, whatever, whatever. Okay. When I read somebody talking to Shar or anybody else, I funnel my life force, my brain, to you to access your time going back. Did you hear what I said? I can access my brain to go to kindergarten class, but I access your brain. This computer screen is I'm looking at the side and I should figure out how to do this. I'm accessing a quantum spot in your brain and I can go back. Sorry, I don't know how to fix this. It seems I'm looking at the side here. So in some ways, I just moved this thing all around. And so in some ways, you're allowing me access point of a memory in your mind. So you're thinking through, okay, I remember the day that that guy stood me up and ghosted me. I want to know more information. And so you'll tell me and guide me into your mind to that quantum spot. And I tell people, as is the man who memorized 12,000 books, it's not like you are showing me in your mind the memory of that moment as much as I'm folding time. You're allowing me into your past, that thread that of you here to that date or that situation. So I could access that fool who ghosted you, man or woman, so it goes both ways. I have men call me all the time. And so darn it. So I go to that point. So how does that work? You, when I join you, you guide me to that quantum spot in your mind because how would I know? So I can access time to go back and go there and get your answers. As with my being on the schoolyard and getting that polio shot, I can look around that schoolyard and see the whole schoolyard. I can go back and talk to your date and ask him what's wrong. I had a fight with my mother and I was so mad I ghosted her. She didn't know that. How would I know that? You can find out.
Mm-hmm.
One lady, it's been 20 years, she was asking about her man, and he was at home. She just had questions. It wasn't like crying. And I said to him, I said, this man is really, it's really odd. I see him bent over at the waist, and he's just doing something with his hands. What is that all about? He's kind of bent over. I says, what is he doing? Well, she called him up, and he was giving wet dog food out of the can with a spoon, bent over in front of the dog dish. Really? All right. How would I know that? I could see the body, but I couldn't see the action.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go back to a date a month earlier, a year earlier, high school, you're allowing me access to the past. How is that possible in my mind, your life? Okay. Do we have a little paradox here? And so when you start thinking about it all the time, and this is true, it's very exciting. And I've had people tell me, "Oh, Nancy, I couldn't do what you do. You have such tough cases." I said, "Don't do the tough cases. Leave them me.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tough cases because I've been doing this so long." And so, at some point, as you evolve in your work, you're going to seek out, and energy is put out that you like the tough cases. I don't have time to go through all of them, but I want to get on to point out some of the things. Remember, I can only use me as an example. This is not a brag system as much as information center right now. So when people challenge me and say, "Oh, you're fake," or "I don't believe in you," I go, "Oh, please let me entertain you." If you go to nancymatzpsychic.com, right at the beginning, I have a link to a page I copy and pasted and put on my website, Professor Gary Swartz. And you can call him up, you can talk to him about me. And I printed everything out. I triple blind tested. Couldn't see, couldn't hear, no response. Walked in the room, they were behind a closed area. He said I was 95% right. And at the bottom of the page, he listed all the people he tested. And at the bottom, he said, the best of you are the ones that are unknown. And that's the best of you. There are so many of us that are very good at what we do. And why do I do it? No story for another night. And we will discuss it. But once you get yourself entangled in this environment, you will say things like, I can't wait for the next appointment. This is so exciting and so amazing. Now, explain to me, and Shar had me on a few times doing this, as well as other shows. I have what I will be offering you on Favored and YouTube will be who's standing next to you. I never get to see you. I just have your first name. I can describe a spirit person standing next to you. How is that possible? I've had people scream and yell and write me notes. Oh my God, how did you know it was my dad? What was really curious is in Pennsylvania, I would think I was right, Char was Pennsylvania, and there's a young man, and it does help sometimes to know the front door faces south or north or east or west. It does help. But he had a pale colored house, excuse me. I was there visiting, and I looked to the right of the house. I didn't get indoors. And I said, oh my gosh, I see a whole row of spirit men rounded around the whole house. Not 13 of them. I guess quick. Like, and I don't never traveled Pennsylvania. I've never been to the north 13 states. I would like to. I visited New York. I've been to a couple places, but I've never traveled, and I just haven't. And first, you have to get me in a plane to get there. I don't travel well. But anyway, and the young man went, if I get this wrong, correct me, Shar. He said, oh my God. I go, what? He said, I'm next to a mining area, and there has recently been a cave-in, and there was like a dozen men that got killed. They wanted me to know that they were there and okay. So they all lined up. Oh, excuse me, goosebumps. They were all lined up around his house so that I would see them. They pulled me from being able to see who was, by the way, a grandmother was standing next to him. If you're here, call me because I didn't pick it up. She was a shorter woman. As she got heavier, her arms filled out and her bosom. She did have a waist. She was next to you. But the men were around the house and they wanted me to see them. It was very emotional for me. And the young lady in Texas, she had lost her father and he looked very young. He was a shorter man and robust. And I described him perfectly. Tell me, where in my brain is that information? Hello. And the distance, how we calculate my brain, excuse me, my brain, how is my brain inside my skull hearing your voice in Texas and Pennsylvania? We have kids from all over the United States. And that's fun. If you do call my show or get into my shows, be fun to find out where people live. It is fun. One night I was doing readings a long time ago, and this sweet little thing was on. And I says, where are you? Where are you? She says, I'm in Ireland. I go, oh my gosh, how fun. Still answer her question. It doesn't matter. I got clients all around the world. My poor little brain gets tired too. But my abilities isn't in my brain. My memories of your life and your deceased father and those 13 minors is not my brain. This is my consciousness of who I am. And I love this. Being able to help you understand that we do not die is my greatest gift to you. So, along with who's standing next to you, I will also be doing hauntings. And precious as it could be and difficult it could be, is who is grieving your deceased loved ones. Now, we're only halfway through. I got to get going because there's more I want to talk to you about. When I talk of vibration, as the other two shows, I resonate if there's at I'm calmer. I prefer music that's a deeper tone. Uh, I don't like bright lights. I like peaceful. The lights are brighter in here right now, but I don't have all this blaring all the time. And so that's my personality. I believe past lives is the same kind of thing. We carry the same vibration. So if I travel time, I know I'm talking to you in the past because you feel the same when I blend with you. As a child, same thing. I've
Hmm.
always been this way. So I know that who I am as a person, you would talk to me, oh, your vibration. I say, go to when I was in the play yard, lining up next to the fence, going to get my polio shot. My mind at a quantum level would allow you to go back and talk to me about that polio shot. Got it? You
Hmm.
would recognize me because you've already touched me and my consciousness and the vibration late. I got two cats in here too. As a child, I'd be the same because I've always been the same person. And people will tell you that. Okay, so I got into past life regression work probably, well, I don't know when I got into it. I've always been involved with it. But when I first got in here, I didn't believe in it. I did believe in reincarnation. Those are things that I struggle with. Um, I was a Catholic, married a Catholic, converted to Catholicism, da, 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 on and on. But when I got married, in a high new mass, Catholic mass wedding, I get kids in your audience are going, oh yeah, their philosophy now isn't mine. Because when I was getting married, there were spirit people walking around in there. So, so later, when I got into this world, I got married in 67. So in 1990, when I entered this world, and the spiritualist church invited me because I evidently had some abilities right from the first night. It's very fun.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, I saw more and more because my brain said, exciting, exciting, exciting. And I learned to manipulate my life force, which I had already been doing, and you do every day by thinking of somebody you love and they call. You reach them first. And so we're always manipulating, pushing out our energy and coming back, coming back, coming back. What I do is I move me to you. And so I started to get into all kinds of aspects of this. My first past life regression was given to me by a very elderly man, Madison and um, Sunrise Boulevard area. And he was part of an Edgar Casey study group, which I joined. And it didn't feel like I had a lot in common with him, but I did have the past life regression work. And it was so real to me that I was stunned. And it matched my life. Not many of you know, but I've been an athlete all my life. But particularly as I got older, I got into running. I love it. I've been wounded. I want to get back into it. I can just get my strength back and let me start again. When the it's just nuts, you know. Not going to get back on horses, but I will get back into fast walking and running. Anyway, so when I went back to this past life regression, it was about a child who was a runner, and all of it was based on being a runner. I was the same vibrational person, even though I was a man. Think about that for a moment, okay? If our soul is evolving at a from the divine, we are a spark of light. But over decades, we develop a tendency to be the person we are, and unless we change dramatically, whether I was a man or woman, I would have been the same person inside. So there's many ranges of variations, I believe. I'm not talking off-world stuff. I'm talking us. Yes, the mud planet, the planet of learning, the struggles, whatever I don't care, just whatever we are. So, uh, getting back to reincarnation, I want to tell a story. And I don't think I told it. I hope I'm not repeating myself. A man in England, and he had a session with somebody who called me, and he was writing his. I think I did mention now I'm talking about it. He was writing his family history, and he found that he was blocked, and he found that he didn't know where to go next. But he knew what the people did for a living. So he says, I need to go back in time, not my time, further back, and find the relatives that did this. I went 5 miles past the point he was talking about the township. and off to the right, and then curved to another right was the main lead of a town in which his relative did that work. He wrote me, and I have this. He wrote me a wonderful letter. He got back to me and said, I found old maps. The tile maker that you spoke of is exactly where you told. That tile maker was a relative, and now I can finish the book. You think, how does that work? I entered his essence. He told me where to look in his memory of his parents, of the grandparents, of the great grandparents. And all I did was skip from one generation to the next to find the fella that worked with textiles or tile. If you're watching, get back to me.
Nice.
I should get the letter out, right? It's unbelievable. But we can go back in time to past lives. And after he validated that I had done it correctly, found them directly, I went, who else can I go visit? How far can I go back? Well, clearly, I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to skip over some of this. So, when I lived in Sierra Vista, which is right at the Mexican border, I was fortunate someone knew about me and had me sign up to do classes at the Learning Exchange. And I talked about all kinds of stuff. And then one time somebody said, I didn't know you do past life regression work. Oh, yeah. When I was in Citrus Heights and I lived in Citrus Heights and Roseville. Yes, yes, yes. I loved it. I loved it. I have wonderful stories. And so they got a group together, about 25, 30 women, I think. I know if there was a man in there, I apologize, I don't remember. And so in my mind, I can do this, so I did this. I quadrant off the people into 5 different groups in my mind. And while I had talked them to a place where they were experiencing a past life of their choice, not necessarily applicable to exactly what they're doing today, but a life of interest, of learning, or something they want to parlay that today. And I remember these ladies being quite a bit older. What else are you going to do on a Saturday night? 70, 80, 90 years old ladies. Well, this lady looked to be older, and she was a slim lady and a strong faced lady and loose clothes because it's the Everson's middle, it's very hot. And I thought, okay, from each quadrant, whoever gives me the most energy, I'm going to look at that past life. Oh my God. She was a caveman. I loved it. Moo, 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 moo. And I went, no, please, I want to see more. And we're talking this gentle little skinny woman sitting there going, oh shit. And so, calm down, Nancy, calm down. I was just like out of the moon looking at this lady. And if you could see, okay, you guys, those of you who are intuitive, touch my memory and you'll see this lady. Remember, you can also access my visuals because I'm allowing you to go to that quantum place in my mind to Sierra Vista, which was 078, the crash. And we were smack on right there. Oh my gosh, I'm laughing. I couldn't wait to get everybody back because I wanted to talk to this sweet, skinny little lady. And I said to my right, oh God, that really made me laugh. Here she is. Okay, everybody, join my memory of this incident by going back. And I knew who it was. And I didn't know if she'd want to talk to me. I says, I've had the surprise of my life. Who in this group was a caveman? Oh, oh, she raised her arms up. And I go, oh, tell me. She says, which was interesting. No thought. There was not a lot of thought. It was action. She says, I had a lot of action. And it was a male. And all I remember, it was beyond the point of totally uh, more human than otherwise. I'll put it that way. And this man was robust and strong. I did say the leader, I could just see him, wah, 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 kind of
Mhm.
individual, right? And I was so taken back because it was hairy and it was the twilight of a morning or a night and it was outdoors. And I looked at her and I thought, wonder why I was shown that. How far back? 40 generations?
Mhm.
Is that right? But yet she went directly there for her past life experience. I went to the time of Christ for my experience.
Mhm.
I'm a Christian, but that's where I went. The Roman Legion. And so when I thought about it later, she was a wisp of a thing, 100 pounds soaking wet. She was as tall as I was, 5'5", 5'6". And I looked at her with her slim arms, and I'm older, and my slim arms aren't slim anymore. You know, I'm getting that grandma, let's hug grandma, gain weight and get the softer body. She had none of that. And I wondered, I just speculated. If you guys get a better answer, fine. Maybe she went to a life of absolute freedom from stress, strife, raising families, and strength that she might have experienced in that life so she could remember what it feels to have the freedom of flesh, the freedom
Mhm.
to be strong. Now, if this caveman or was a cave woman, I can't tell the difference. My assumption of the figure was of a maleness. I don't know, but it was exciting because she was excited. So I totally lost time on that. I gotta hurry here.
There's a question in the chat room too. Somebody's
Okay,
wondering if you can do this with somebody that's deceased. Can you look back in
past
their
life.
past? Can you
Yeah,
look
I've
back
done
in the
that.
past of someone that's deceased? Okay, that's a question.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did mention that earlier. I can go back to someone who's deceased and talk to you of their parent or their children. Absolutely.
Okay.
I can speak to you of their death and who greeted them by visual. Absolutely. And you can too if you're a reader. You have to practice. Absolutely. It's quirky because I have a family that tells me I'm been tweaked with the UFO people. They said, you're not normal. I go, not normal. Of course I am. I've just worked a lot. And I was exposed to large groups of people to do this. So I've had tremendous practice. So how do you measure that?
Mhm.
Um, sorry. Oh gosh. Okay. I already told you about Susie Smith came to visit me. I'm going to be reading some of her books. So we have 29 books written by Susie Smith talking of the afterlife. I only have 8 or 9 of her books. I won't read them all. But she was a leading figure in spiritualism. I was connected with the Universal Christ of the Master,
Mhm.
going part of the Fox Sisters National Spiritual Association of America. My ministry is a Universal Christ of the, wait a minute, um, UCM is Universal Christ of the Master. Church of the Living God is a spiritual church I belong to because they believe in off-world life forms. We would call them UFOs now. I believe there's life throughout the universe. I've had experiences, on and on and on. So that was my next note I wanted to tell you about. And I'm going to do it 5 more minutes, and then I want to get to the ambiance of why I'm bringing this together. Um, and I can't believe I'm going to have another show of this. Okay. Um, so when you move your life force about, I have been at malls shopping when we had malls. Nowadays, we don't really have much. And for practice, you can move your life force from you to someone in the crowd. You do not have permission to talk to them. When someone gives me permission by calling me, I know that they're willing to hear their needs in my words.
Mhm.
Okay, and we all read differently. I I used to be an engineer person, rules and regulations, and so I think that way. I cannot think, though my house is full of beautiful things. Not expensive things, everybody, just beautiful things. Color is everywhere in my life. But I don't talk that way. I need that to feed my mind because I am that kind of person. But I'm more blunt. So if you can't handle that, call somebody else. I have a client that I ministered, and she's like a fairy to me. She's light skinned, light bodied, and she's just
Mhm.
a beautiful whisper thing. And she talks like that. That is what some people want. They'll find her. They wouldn't listen to me. So it's something else I wanted to talk about. Um, okay, some of these things we don't need to talk about because I do want to get to the end of this. Um, access time to see spirit kind to see and describe a pregnancy to be. Um, you can move your mind to somebody and move outside of their mind, outside of their body, and see a floating unborn next to them. I have witnessed this. I also know that the fetus can have a spirit join it. That's arbitrary. I've seen the spirit of an unborn around the mother before she went right into labor.
Mm-hmm.
Why do some spirits stay around the the parent? Why do some join? I can't answer that. I do believe that there are people who are born today that have disabilities who chose a disability because a lifetime was so turbulent they need to rest. I actually had a disabled person tell me that when they couldn't talk, and that was like a revelation to me. It doesn't mean I would take care of. I had a child that had a disability. It was fixed, but only through surgery and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't. If you call me up and say spina bifida, da, 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 da. My best friend, she died in February '01, was of spina bifida, and she said to me, if I had had my body purely undamaged from birth, I would have been 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
And she was a Hell's Angel woman. And she says, hell, I would be on that bike all over the United States. I wouldn't have been doing this. And she's the one that taught me the first initial, why don't you read me for once? I don't want to read you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a catalyst for me to understand more. And I give her that credit. Donna Vasquez out of Sacramento, California. She died of her condition of after effect or something. Um, there's a scientific magazine, Science and Non-Duality.com slash article slash a new theory of consciousness. The mind exists as a field connected to the brain. A new theory of consciousness. I just said that. There's also an article by Tara, Tara. Last name is Maclsaac. Between quantum physics and neuroscience, a theory emerges of a mental field we each have, existing in another dimension and behaving in some ways like a black hole. Don't know about a black hole, but I want to go quantum. I think that we flitter between multiple dimensions. Some of these dimensions are hair thick. Some of them, like I fell through, and Karen Rossi, my partner in crime in this field, I do believe there's multiple layers for me to be able to flitter between now and this client in England to
Mm-hmm.
4 generations back. Let me ponder that for five. It's quite a while. In England, they can go back that many generations. Here we can't go back. Um, principles of quantum physics may explain how the mind processes information. Just this past week, they have developed a quantum computer, and
Mm-hmm.
they were talking about um, a theory that needed explanation or needed they needed explanation how it works, or they needed to know how to solve a problem, but it was a theory of quantum physics. And it would have taken like 10,000 years or 20,000, whatever, 100,000 years. This quantum computer that took that theory to work it out took 10 minutes. And I think it's like it jumps in time to different places in the future to put that information together. It is not in that piece of metal. It was just a little square thing like this big. The evidence of non-local consciousness. Researchers prove consciousness can exist outside the body and after death. One of my favorite topics. Yes, I see a lot of dead people, deceased people, undead people. See, pro-life, whatever I want to call it. I don't know what's good on this station anymore. And I believe that we survive, and I live in my heart with a different level of anxiety that every. I just want to get as much done as I can, and I've been dealing with some health issues. That's what we all have, and I'm just out in a hurry to get going again. And it's because while we're allowed to take a breath, drink our coffee, the cat's caffeinated. I have purple on, so I've got a purple cup. I am absolutely amazed that this is possible. Every day I do it. Every client I talk to gives me a new level of excitement. What I want to end up with, I got 5 minutes to do this, or six, is I'm trying to show you that as we travel time, whether it's today, define your man friend or partner or boss, you tell me about this individual, you go back, and then I identify him because of the characteristics you share with me. If you want to go way back vibrationally in your timeline, it's because you vibrate and are the same soul today as you were in all those other vacation spots, variations, because our goal is to experience every aspect possible life experience so that as we evolve to when we don't have to come back. My little friend, I didn't ask her permission to talk to her of her. I have a friend that's in the business, and we were talking about future lives. We were talking about living reincarnation. And she says, I'm so grateful. I go, why? She says, this is my last time. So then I see her as a little girl, blonde hair, in what I would call the Netherlands, Holland, Belgium area. And I went, okay, I wasn't asking for that. And I said, how do you like that part of the world? Oh, that's really nice. I like that. But I'm not going to argue with you, Nancy. I'm not coming back. Oh, fine. You go, absolutely. Absolutely. So when the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, great love story, but if you don't, just watch it for the artwork. When he passes over Robin Williams before the wife, he arrives in her landscape of her paintings. Oh, we're talking Van Gogh paintings, lots of color, lots of interesting things to look at. And he's overwhelmed by the enormity of the visual of his own creation. Because as spirit people, we create all the time a visual of our lives.
Right.
And so, in the quest of the movie, that Robin Williams seeks out after his wife ends her life because she's in grief so terrible. He finds her and he says to her, we can do this again. We can fall in love all over again. Would you like to do that? And she looks at him, uh-huh. The next scene, the next scene is a sweet little boy, 3, 4 years old, 4 years old. He's got a little boat in the water. There's a little lake. And this cute little brown haired girl comes up with two halves of the peanut butter and jelly sandwich and she hands one half to him. And you could hear the people in the audience go, oh, what a fun, sweet way to end a movie. And only half of those would ever believe this is true. But if you go to YouTube and listen and watch verification of children's past lives or anything on YouTube, watch these wonderful stories of these moms with the perplexities of saying, my 2 year old doesn't think I'm his mom. I had one lady, I talked to her many times. I brought it because it was amazing to me, Gail. And I had just finished A Course in Miracles and I was doing, and she came to me with her 21-year-old son. And she says, do you tell him I am his mother? I go, kind of looks that way. She says he's never calling me mom. He's always calling me Gail because his mom and sister are still in heaven. In fact, they were out one time and he pointed to a pale yellow beige four-door sedan 1950s look that had gone over the bridge.
Hmm.
That was what he showed me. What upset her is he found that same car driving. Of course, it was not the same car, but it was a duplicate of what that car looked like. Oh, that's a car I died in. Well, we are the same vibration. So when you do a reading of somebody, they'll tell you who to go to and you can identify them. If you're on the phone to somebody, it matters not because you will connect quantumly to that voice in that flesh body. I have clients all over the world. I used to do emails until I was abused by two women who evidently knew to attack me at the same time over and over. It was terrible. And I told both of them that you ruined it for me. But I kept a few. So all those of you who, my dearest client in England, she knows if you're listening, and my lady in Singapore, and I can deal with the lady in Singapore. with the illness and potential very soon death of the father within a year. And I can go from her to the father, and I have described how he's doing, what's going on. Tell me that's in my brain. I don't
Hmm.
guess. Why I don't guess? What's the percentage of that? I'm not even that creative. She's like, there's a couple in Italy. I was describing the remodeling of their house, and they hadn't even started. And when it was completed, she said, "Well, we put the beams up like you said we're going to." I told them about the fountain that's in the backyard. And they go, "We haven't got a fountain yet." You will find that in your brain, honey. This has been so much fun. I hope you people got from me what will help you understand how we do this. People don't make the stories up. If they do, it's because they are trying to protect you. They don't know how to word it, or
Hmm.
they're afraid of something, or they don't want to hurt your feelings. Be gracious. The information they give you in the moment is what they can give you. I'm just an engineering background, a little more technical. That's the only thing. And that can be pretty blunt sometimes because it's what I do. But at the same time, I'm absolutely almost every day dumbfounded that this is possible, and I love it. So I will work for as long as I can talk. In 3 years, I'll be 80. See, 3.5 years, but I will keep it up. And yes, I color my hair. I have Indian background, so it's just hit and miss, but it's enough to make me want to do it. I've been really lucky. No facelift. It's me. This is who I am, just a little heavier. Most of you probably go back to Sacramento. I was busy 3, 4 times a week with groups, entertaining continually. So now at this age, I have 8 books to write, and I want to do the presentation of the shows, and Shar and I will get mine started very soon. And then I have
Hmm.
33 years of client information that I'd like to tap into. So please sign up. It's a YouTube, Nancy Matzpsychic. Um, that's probably the fastest way, unless you go to Facebook and sign up via notification through there. But I will sign. I'll sign it. I'll find your name and send it off to you. So thank you everybody for showing up tonight. I've had fun. I hope you do. I'm laughing. All right. So good night. And for me, I'll be quiet. I know Shar has a show. She has to go eat. So take it over, Shar. Oh, find me, nancymatz.com,
Hmm.
nancymatzauthor.com, because that's my author page, or Nancy Metz Psychic at YouTube. Okay, everybody. Thank you for the time.
All right. Well, let me get over here. At least the dog finally settled down. She found a spot now, so I think she'll be there for every show. It took her a while. Anyway, everybody, I want to thank Lori. I want to thank Vera. I want to thank Pamela for being in the chat
Yes.
room tonight. Thank you so much. And for everybody else
Pamela,
that's
Vera.
lurking, and there
Yeah.
are people lurking. So, thank you for watching tonight. I appreciate it.
Can you ask
We
me,
will.
answer me,
Okay.
where are these kids' signed? Is this on Restream that I'm seeing these, or from what platform are they writing?
Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, okay. Okay. So well, I don't know if it's one show I saw someone having a conversation here, but I didn't know where the other conversation was. Well, thank you, Lori.
Yeah, you can look. You can see there's little
Vera.
flags on the bottom of each of their logos when they come up. So you can see which one's YouTube and which one's
No, I
Facebook.
can't see. I'll
Anyway,
wait until
yes. Anyway, I'll be back tonight in about at 7 p.m. Pacific over on TikTok, California Haunts TikTok, and we'll be doing 3 card readings. Like I said, I was going to do some spirit box session tonight, but I want to talk to everybody about what's going on with TikTok and get all that going. And then tomorrow night we will do some spirit box readings. So it's gonna be kind of fun.
oh,
This
how
house is
fun.
this house is very active, so you never know what voice is gonna come across.
Well,
So
we've
yeah,
done that before. We did this house too. Well, sort of. Did you tell them? Listen, everybody's house has people in it. And if I had been talking to Nancy the night that I was talking to her about something I was going to mail to her in the mail, some spirit man manifests right behind me, and I'm too close to it. Then Showers yell at me, "Don't turn around, Nancy. Don't keep. Be quiet, Nancy. I'm going to take a picture." We have ghosties everywhere.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Ah, Marissa's in here too. Okay, well, guys,
Listen,
I will see you at 7 p.m. Pacific very shortly over in the big studio, so we can do some free card readings and stuff. I've got my rock candy, so I'm ready to rock and roll
Oh,
with that today. So we're going to be rocking. Last night we had a good night. We were rocking really well. Oh, Barbara Rose, I forgot about you, Barbara. I see you there. I
is
see you
Barbara?
there. Barbara was in, so that was fun. So again, I don't have any shows
Oh,
scheduled for
Barbara.
next week except I think two. However, Sunday, as far as this show goes, Sunday I'll be back at 5 p.m. Pacific, so we can read from the spooky book. And then again, next week I don't have much schedule, but I'm working on doing that. I'm working on doing that. I'm going to work on it this weekend, get some letters out to people, get more shows booked. I enjoyed this week. This is the biggest week I've had in a while. We did 5 shows this week, so I'm real excited about that. Loved every second of it. And yeah, I'm
Lori,
going
and she
to.
says you should join us, Nancy. What's that mean,
Oh, over
Lori?
there on over on TikTok.
Ah,
Over on
I may
TikTok.
do TikTok. I don't know what Char wants to do with me. Get me started here.
Lori is
I'm
my
fine.
Lori is one of my top moderators over at TikTok.
Oh,
So yeah,
Lori, I'll make sure we connect.
yeah. So all right, guys. I will see you in about a half hour. And Nancy, thank you. It's always fun. Fun as always. Fun as always. So let me get this going here. Let me push the right bloody buttons because there's a lot of buttons in Restream to push. All right, guys. I will see you and have a great evening, everybody. And come on over to TikTok and visit us. Bye.